Hey, yeah, long time no see you. So yeah, I went back and come here overseas and
Hmm.
checking the communities there and here. I mean, people are the same. People are the same. So yes, we forgot that early ages. I mean, 50s, 60s, 70s. I have the feeling that people are more cooperated between each other. Nevertheless, what kind of political regime they have. Uh,
Mm.
but now today it's kind of one and the same thing. I don't know. I mean, it's not willing to help each other or be
Yeah.
more egotistical and stuff. So I can say it nevertheless, which part of the world we are living, it's difficult to have some kind of mindset of helping each other. And that's kind of really sad. You know that, Tiffany, you know of your experience. So
Yeah.
yeah, I went going back, still working on Module 49 and looking for make it simpler and easier, but I'm not sure whether it can be happen or not. Uh, I mean, I think that there is a necessity of people to know how to live in communities according to the laws and the countries and depending where you live. But
Yes.
still, they're taken for granted and kind of moving forward. They say, they're talking only because you cannot see it coming, after 10, 20 years. If you stay there, of course, if you don't stay there, then it's another story. So I'm sure that you meet the same situation with your communities, which are dojo and teaching them.
Yes. Well, I have, so, I think we've mentioned this before, but so community work has been a really kind of top of mind for me since the mid 80s. And and I've been involved in different communities. I searched for, I had this longing for connection.
Hmm.
And of course, I still have it to a certain degree. Um, and so, I've gone through different iterations of community living. I've lived in intentional communities.
Hmm.
I've lived in urban settings, in suburban. I've been in rural settings, and each one kind of has its own um, set of, I guess, normalcy for those environments.
Hmm.
And I'm just going to let my dog out here.
No worry, no worry, no worry.
So, and so when you had asked me how my summer's been,
Yes, yes, of course, I want to
and I
see.
said it's been very intense, and I'll tell you it is around community development. So one of the things that I've really been steeped in recently, because I really did have quite a shock to my system when we had kind of what
Hmm.
felt like a rebellion or I don't know, I just didn't understand what was going on, and I still don't exactly. But what I found is I dug into equity work. I don't know if you've heard this term equity.
Equity
Um,
is about when you have banks and they give you equity, kind of equity loan
well,
or
there's
something.
equity with money, but there's
Yes.
equity in in sociology work. So
Oh.
looking at societies. Okay, so there's equity, and in that you look at equity among different groups of people, right? So maybe it's by race or gender or different identities, like all of these different things. And so I have been really studying something called white fragility. And because in the US, I mean, we've been talking about all kinds of things with the unrest in the US for a long time. But as uh, a white individual, um, I've learned a lot through studying white fragility, and it really Robin DiAngelo is spearheading that work in the U.S. here. And
Hmm.
if you haven't heard of her work, I think something it might be worth for you to take a look at,
Yeah.
because it really helps to understand. Um, how, for me as a person who always, I've said so many times, oh, I accept everybody. And I don't really, I've said this before where it's like, oh, I don't see people's color of skin. We're all the same. But what I didn't understand is that that is actually something that comes from my white privilege, that idea that we're all the same, and that people often that are of other races will see that as being dismissed and discounted. So there's many things that I'm learning about this, and I'm learning about the organization that I've been involved in, is the epitome of having this male-dominated regime that just takes for granted what, that tells people what they need to do or not do, and how I've kind of fed into that, and what some of the pushback I'm getting is that people are not feeling like they have a voice. They're feeling like if they do try to voice something, that maybe there will be pushback or retaliation of some sort. And even though I am like, I'm like, what? I wouldn't do that or whatever. It's like, oh, there's some things I can say or do that actually makes people feel that way. So I'm doing what, I do try to teach people, which is, if I'm feeling unsettled or upset about somebody else's behavior within the group, I really need to check myself first and check my own, where is that coming from, before I start calling them out on it or blaming them or anything like that, right? So I have a lot of work to do. I have a lot of work to do.
Well, everybody has a lot to do, Tiffany, even myself and everybody, but that's why we came to this world, to study and to keep evolving our mind, whether it's martial arts, whether it's Buddha, philosophy, or working in your mind and reading books and extending. But I don't know, I never accept you as a racist or something. And if the people are thinking minor, that's their problem. I'm coming from a culture which has a lot of bloodsheds, in the history, but not on the racist kind of base. It was a racist of losing the state and fighting back to take the state. We're privileged to have different religions, different philosophy. Even the new kind of research is saying that many of the philosophy and artifacts in Europe are coming. They are situated 1/3 in Bulgaria, and that we don't know history. And later on, even many of the books and teachings, you can see them in the United States. So how far they went, it didn't then go in 20th century. They went in 16th, 17th, 18th century, were preserved in the United States University, New York, Boston, Los Angeles. I think it's California. But they're not popularized. And it's very interesting that we never have racism in Bulgaria. And for us, it's strange that it's pulling this trump card again in some parts of the world. Also, we never have rebellions against religions, because we understood the prima vista, or the primary law is that we are all the same, and we are looking at one and the same issue different way, and you have the right to look with your faith in a different way. We never go against Muslims or they go against us. It's very wrongfully presented that Turkish, Ottoman Empire, which was the last 500 years, which Bulgaria was. Not only that, Serbia, Greece, Romania, all the Balkan countries were part of Ottoman Empire, and for a while, and so on. So our uprising, even would end up with a lot of bloodshed and atrocities. By the way, which an American journalist in 19th century, and there was a monument in the United States, I didn't know that he presented the facts very truthfully. It's a great journalist. He was hired by New York Times, by other great newspapers, and he presented the rebellions and the atrocity of the Turks But as I said, the uprising were for the lacking of state, not for or against racism or the religious factor. It's completely different mindset. So that's why all the European countries, including United States, which was not so powerful at that time, in the 19th century as a world domination, I mean, they raised their voices. And later on, the Russian king decided to make an action based on a lot of kind of approvals and a lot of voices raised by one American journalist. And he went there, he saw it, he made a picture, caricatures. There weren't photos at that time so popular. So it's a mindset that we are really equal, and the difference between black and white of the skin, I can tell, is the melanin. It's this kind of stuff inside which you don't see. It's 0.03%. That's the difference, nothing else. And it's coming from thousands of years living in a different geography, latitude. And of course, if you go deeply with the doctors in biology, if African-American person is living in the United States, in Canada, they are more exposed to cancer of the skin because biologically they belong to a more hotter environment where their skin protect themselves against the sun. It's opposite to the white skin. The white skin is more suitable for, the not so hot climate. So there is a sense, and there is a mathematicians, and there is some biology here, nothing else. That's kind of coming from the way of living, not of kind of political, religious and stuff, because we know that we exist equal, we were born equal. And one of my mentors is African American here in Canada, Avery Williams. He's belongs from not Jamaica, from Antigua. Yeah, he was born there, and his father came in Canada, so it doesn't matter. And I think that it's very wrong if this Trump card is this kind of things are going up again in the United States, because I think you suffered a lot. Looking Selma, Martin Luther King, and other issues in the 30s and 40s United American history. I think this is a waste of time for you guys. I mean, it's my opinion, because it's still perceived as one of the greatest country in the world, no matter what.
Yeah, but I think that there's there's a lot going on that's not understood among the people in the US. Like there's a lot of fingers pointing and blaming, and so this is a lot of what I'm looking at and trying to understand it, both on, it's been interesting for me because I'm in an interracial marriage, so that in and of itself has its own set of things, and which is, I mean, that's something I've embraced and loved, and but yeah, I'm just noticing some things that of how we're living and how people, it's the passing the judgment. I mean, I think that's been the big thing, is everybody judges one another, and it doesn't matter what side you're on if you take a side, right? Like if you're taking a side, you're gonna like point fingers and blame the other person, but they're not doing something right. And this is what I think is so broken in our country, and I think that's a lot of what I have been going through, is tremendous amount of judgment, and then the self-righteousness of people thinking that either by, that some people will say, well, if you just call somebody out on something or you're too abrasive, that's not good. But then there's this other thing of like just being silent and walking away, and the resisting in silence, this like, it's like that. I think what people don't understand that is just as aggressive. That's a very aggressive move. And just because there's not yelling, or because there's not, you know, all these things, it still can be very abusive and very abrasive and confronting. And it's, I think that people are, I don't know, we're dealing with a lot of delusion. A lot of delusion.
And the retaliation is not the answer. And I'm exposed to some other teachings, not religious. I mean, some kind of books which were written hundreds of years ago in French, in German. I don't speak them, but there's a lady which I met in Bulgaria, in Sofia, in the capital, where she's over 30 years translation of many rare books which were not kind of popularized or forgotten, hidden. And there, the basic element is, thousands of years ago, God is good, and we are all equal, like have the rights to be what we are. And if you're doing any bad to somebody, it's going to come back at you. Of course, the illusion is, you're right, the illusion is that, oh, I'm going to kill and rape, and then no, nothing happens. It's not like this. You don't see it, but it's coming. What it's coming, lifetime or afterlife, that's another deep conversation. And we forgot that. We forgot that it's in the Bible, it's in the Quran, it's in everywhere. Let's say the Quran, they manipulated us. Jihad, the big jihad means to overcome yourself. And this is in Japanese culture, it's a European culture, it's American culture. Overcome yourself. Small jihad is to overcome your enemy. It's completely different presented by the media. Opposite. So even there, if we go from there, it's complete. I met Muslims, as I said, I'm coming in a country, especially Balkans today, there are a lot of Muslims. There's no hostility. There is no kind of, and it's misrepresentation. They want to pull out again the same card as many years ago. But that shouldn't happen, because there's only one outcome, self-destruction. And the same is with the racism. It's not the religion's racism. Okay, we're different. Yeah, we're different, so what? So what? We're different, that's good. Can you imagine to be equal, to be the same? No, it's been a very boring life. I think that's the life. Life is in the variety. Life is the variety of choice and reaching out the main goal, which is self kind of elevation, self focus, understanding the world from your side, but without hurting anybody else, without arguing with anybody else, without because even you argue, you cannot convince them you're right, or they cannot convince you you're right. Retaliation now, I think it's too late. Retaliation now is too late, because all these things which somebody speak up, like white domination stuff, I can tell you even worse. Not white domination. It's a nonsense, because in British Columbia, 70% are Asian people. You don't have a white domination here. Actually, it's reversal. And I never pick up such a thing, like to show Asian person or somebody else kind of attitude. But when they start to shout and scream at me, I show them the same disrespect. I said, no, you don't shout and scream at me, because we are equal. I'm here to serve you, but you don't have the right to abuse me. If you don't understand, you ask, but don't throw the garbage on me, because it's gonna come back at you. And that's the thing. Self-education is important. You cannot blame nobody else if you don't know, if you don't understand. And this kind of segregation is coming only on the level of ignorance, of stupidity, of non-education. That's the key. If you don't put yourself in the education, you're going to suffer. That's no any way around. You cannot skip it. And when are you going to do this?
But I don't know if you know this, but even that education, we have a huge group of people in America that really think that being educated is a problem.
Depends what.
It's like, so, it's interesting. It's just really interesting I'm doing all this inner work, and I'm loving it. And I'm not feeling guilty or that I've done something wrong. I've done the best I know how to be my human self, and to be responsible for what it is that I'm teaching, and you know, and so that's been really good. But I've had fear too, and I'm, you know, trying to look at that and get over that. Say, hey, you know, I know I don't want to be there, and it doesn't serve me well. But it doesn't stop it from coming up. You know, so.
Yeah, and this is kind of challenging what you're doing. That's great that you're trying to make the communities, no matter what kind of origin they have, and it's a tough choice again, which is weird because in 21st century we have to overcome these differences, varieties. I mean, like a hatred, like you said, because where are we gonna go? Our children gonna be in war again, and this is gonna be the last war if we go in such a way. There's no question about it. I mean, you cannot feel guilty of something which somebody else did before, and that what you are, because you're what you are. I mean, there's no lesson more. Nobody say. I think that white domination is already forgotten. It was during the British Empire. We live in different century. Even British Empire was slowly kind of defeated from inside out when people, India, South Africa, everybody just show that they have the right to decide themselves, to be sovereign. They still have the connections with the crown, but still, you know, they're showing that they have the right to live their lives. And we're talking about 52 nations. 52 nations were under domination of one of the biggest, largest empire in the world. 35 million square kilometers, bigger, twice than Russia today. So even there, the British understand they cannot dominate forever. Plus the way, I mean, you push it, there's a pushback. It's like a spring.
Yep.
So it's the same with the thing which you're trying. If they want to blame you that you're white or this, no way, man. I mean, we're living different century. It was in before, it was programmed by different people, which is the basic principle. You know it from the Roman Empire: dividima et impera, divide and rule. That's why it was kind of implemented, because they think that they can control easier, but they forgot that the human beings has also their opinion, their rights to live, and there's a process of, you know, backslash. So no, you can do whatever you can do, and you shouldn't feel guilty and what you are, because I mean, if we go that direction, we have to shut down and kill ourselves, and I don't know. I mean,
well, I mean, I'm feeling more. I'm just kind of trying to make sure that I'm looking at different perspectives, you know, being in community, listening, but at the same time, like, I know what the creation is of what it is that I'm teaching. And so, you know, the message that I've had to make clear, and that my husband has had to make clear, is that as we evolve and change, if it's no longer in alignment with what a student is wanting to pursue, then they are invited to leave. You know, they can go train somewhere else.
We talk about it, that there's arrogance, and you told me that there's sometimes an arrogance in these young people, some of young people, not all of them. They want to study and they want to be the ego rather than the kind of the core value of the martial arts is to serve with your skills. You want to serve. You don't want to dominate. Well, it's always the dark side, as they say in the Star Wars, is seductive. You want to be kind of mentioned. You want to show that you're stronger than the others, but that's not the human kind. People are remembered for their deeds and results when they're helping other people, not when they destroy other people. Well, they're not loved, and they never have the same respect. as people who helped and give away and their time and desire to help. So you're in the right direction, but you're going to see a lot of resistance. As one of the friends of Joe says, when the airplane is under the target, there's a lot of missiles on the airplane. It means that you are on the target. So the more resistance you have, it means you're in the right place, in the right time.
Yes. Yep. I'm really trying to embrace that.
If you don't, it means that something. If you don't have such a resistance, means that probably you're not on the target, or maybe a different target, and people don't pay attention. But you will have, and I know that's things unsolved there, but it's in every country, in every region. Balkans also. If you see what's going on, and again, it's raised up this card of they're trying to put the differences and stuff. But no, we in one community, we have a lot of mistakes, bloodshed, and what nothing beautiful happens after that. It's actually the memories. My father was in Dubrovnik, well, it's Croatia today, very beautiful city. I saw it 10 years later. But he was in the time there was a war between the Croats and the Serbs. So, and it's very sad that there was a war at that time. And he met with people who were at the front lines, who were really shooting and killing each other. And he said, no, that's insane. That's insanity, because their mind was changed. They cannot sleep. They were yelling. They cannot be a good man. It's really, I think that some of your leaders has to see such people who are through wars, who now are waving the flag again of domination and using nuclear power. Because when you see such people, they're done for life. Their brain circuit is changed. They've seen violence. They survived this, and they're not already men. They're not human beings. I've heard this from a special guy who was training in special forces. He says the moment you hear the bullet next to your ear, you change already in an animal state, survival mode, which means you're kind of going down in your development. And it will be very difficult for you to go up again, because your instincts comes and then you retaliate, and then you jump, and then you become a basic signal creature rather than the divine creature, which we are. I do believe, nevertheless, of our differences in development, where that's why we have to study and understand who we are. And it's called not only in the Greek, it's before the Greeks, it's much in old civilization, which we forgot, that thou shalt know thyself. I mean, it's not something new in the Christian religion. It's much before, where people understood that this is the basic, the most important stuff to understand who you are, because without it, you cannot communicate properly with other people. That's all.
Yeah, we have. So through all this, through the summer, we've also attracted. We're bringing in Nathan Orchard is coming to our academy, and he's bringing 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu. So we have a really big energy coming in. It's a growing system. It's, so Sharif and I are, we have some really amazing things happening. And that's allowing us also to just, for people that can embrace that, that it doesn't change who they are in what they're practicing in karate. It's at a different time. It's at, we have other things in our school as well. But for some reason, having like a big energy come in has really rocked some people. It's like, oh no, that's not, it's going to change our culture. It's going to change it's like, we've had 3 other systems and programs in our facility for some time. This is just a different one. But it is bringing national and international attention to our facility.
Excellent.
So that's been great. And
that's great. That's great. That's what you are, because I think that martial arts, and that's why Bruce Lee succeeded, because coming from Asia with different culture, people need something to unite them, not to separate them. And with these practices, which are not hurting and protecting yourself, you actually take responsibility for yourself, and it doesn't matter where you come and what skin you have. You're showing that, and that's the mindset which has to overcome, because that's make America great.
Yes. Yeah. So that's what we're focused on, and I am trying to, that's been a lot of, I don't know, it's taken a lot of my time and getting stuff set up for the school year. So I have not been engaged with the group, with Joel's group.
Yeah, but Joe will be happy.
Yeah. But that's coming back around. I'm slowly getting myself back into that routine, and I just wasn't ready to take it to the next level yet. I just
he'll
wasn't.
Be happy. He'll be happy to see that you're progressing in your field, because that's what he wants. He doesn't need. He said, "I don't need to say how are you, what's going on with your family, like we are doing now today." He doesn't get time for that, but he wants to see that there's something which he inspires.
Yes.
To do, because inspiration is great, but final result, the final kind of contribution to your group, that's it. And that's, he told me in June, Vladimir, is not your successes, your students' successes matters, because you can be the greatest guy in the world, but if nobody takes it and apply it, and it's not duplicatable, so it's not a system, which again is what he's teaching. If it's not a system, then what we have, you have no legacy. Your word is not spread out, and if you're doing what you're doing, then the success will come slowly. But people, that's what don't understand. You can use it in your speeches, and I understood it also, that the knowledge, the real knowledge, and the real insight power is coming very slowly. People want it now.
Right. No. Exactly.
It's coming very slow. Especially, I was studying a little bit martial arts, and I know, you have to go three times a week or 4 times a week. Now let's do the same routine. Let's put push-ups. Let's this. And the results are coming very slowly. You cannot just keep like you're drinking a water or something. No, it doesn't come.
Yeah, it takes time.
Put your knowledge there. It's coming so slowly because you have a lot of things which kind of resisted at the real knowledge, the real divine stuff, which I think that's why we're here, to progress slowly. And he said it in his speech, I'm not a perfectionist, I'm a progressionist, inch by inch.
Yes.
Especially martial arts, it's proving it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
there's no any other way. Whatever you are, professor.
I'm still learning. I've been there for 20 years, and it's like I feel like I'm
saying.
just getting there. Just starting to get maybe 1 or 2 things, like really, but no, not really.
And with this martial arts, you can show to everybody, no matter as again race, religion, or skin, saying, "Hey guys, you can. It can help you in discipline, self-discipline." Even yesterday, I watched the movie about Andrea Bocelli. He's blind, that he's opera singer. How he reached this level? Oh boy, what a discipline! The discipline of silence. That's called the movie. Music of Silence. Watch it. It's on Netflix. Very nice movie. How his teacher, which Antonio Banderas is playing the role, that his teacher, his mentor, made him to progress. And he said, discipline, 10 o'clock at night, 7 a.m. wake-up call, no speaking, no drinking, no smoking. It seems like the martial arts. I mean, before performance, you have to be silent. You have to hear everything, the wind, your hair. The most difficult thing, to be silent. The same thing, Tiffany, you can see it in the movie of The Crown about Her Majesty, that she was taught the same thing. The biggest, her mother says, the biggest challenge for you will be to be shut up, not to respond. Because when you respond, then you made mistakes and talk something which you don't want to say.
Yes.
So I like the movie. Yes, it was.
That's a big essence of that learning, for sure. And I believe it does come through many different vehicles. You know, it's because it's one of those lessons in life, in humanity. So yeah. So how have you gotten through what you were dealing with? I mean, you had quite a pushback.
Yeah, I mean, I asked Ryan, I'll be honest with you, and I'll share this with the group. I'm sorry we have only 15 minutes. I just
Okay.
apologize
Yeah.
for that. I have the other gentleman, Timothy, who we talk about Russia and everything, and I like his attitude, the same like conversation with you. So yeah, I came back from Bulgaria. I kind of get stuck a little bit, and finally got to Ryan and said, Ryan, let's do the funnels. Explain me what you're doing. He helped me. We make 1 hour phone call at least previous week.
Mm-hmm.
I think a week ago, a week before, I don't remember. And actually, I'm gonna ask him to share this video if he doesn't want to, if he wants to, because he was explaining what the funnel is, and he's explaining what that specificity, which is resembling what Joe is teaching, and that's what I'm trying to do. But really, for now, I don't have any customers. I make the webinar, but it's a process. That's what Joe is saying, that you have to go and create your own event. You have to go and
Right.
yeah.
Well, who is your ideal customer?
The immigrants.
Okay.
The people who are coming here, that's what comes as a revelation, because renters be different, or those who wants to buy, first buyers are different funnel, different strategy, and Ryan gave him his opinion what I have to do, because if you don't want to overload the person who wants to be engaged with you, and it's so much information there that I think that you can get lost, and specifically if you want to be an owner in British Columbia, Canada, or any other place in Canada, because you have to know the specificity, you know, the specific bylaws, laws, and what you need to know. And I don't think that many people knows it, but I assume, and I think for me, it's much better if it's somebody who is fresh coming or wants to invest and wants to know exactly how it works. But I'm not sure. I mean, that's what my intention, of course, how we're gonna achieve, and that's why I asked Ryan to start publishing, to start putting more and more in the Facebook and other, like LinkedIn or others, so to attract attention. Of course, how it's gonna happen and when it's gonna happen, it takes time. And that's the process. I believe that this process which I created is valuable to prevent you do mistakes and to be prepared for yourself. But it's very few people, he said it, Joel says it, very few people are gonna take advantage of this, because they rely on somebody else to take charge, or somebody else to be responsible for, somebody else to be on the hook, and they like this to blame, but blaming is not an option. Blaming, we are not in 20th century, 19th century, and even then the blaming is not an option, because we have all what we need to make our living, and you don't need somebody like me to come and tell you what to do. And in Europe, I told you that we don't have strata community HOAs. They don't have it. They still live their lives. Yeah, there are problems. Maybe this system can help, but it should be in the resonance with the people who are living in one space, whether they're houses, they were townhomes, whether condo, wherever it is. But if they don't have the agreement which you see in creating a community, then it will be the constant challenge, the egos, the noise complaints, the hatred. It starts slowly like a fire, like a smoke, and as we say, when there's a smoke, there's a fire. So it's gonna escalate very easily, and then you have to leave this apartment building. Plus, I can guarantee you that it's gonna go down in value the moment it becomes this resonance, not resonance, but de-resonance. So it's gonna be very valuable. We are buying, and I see that here people are buying, perceived to some kind of assessment and views and some kind of instant decisions, but I think it's reversal. The process should be much longer for you to make a decision, and that you bite for the deal, you bite for to save money, which I don't know if you're saving or not, because the things how they're presented are not sometimes the truth.
Yes.
And on the first annual general meeting, when you gather and see your neighbors, if they come on the meeting, then you see some kind of very challenging news. For example, they're going to raise your HOF fees with 20%. How come? Well, let's
Mm-hmm.
fire the strata. Let's fire the company. We don't like
Yeah.
them. Well, it's not them. It's the how they present it to you. You bought like a fish. I'm sorry, the hook in the fish. And then when you already signed the mortgage papers and everything, you have the loans and stuff, it's too late. You have to dance. You don't like the dance, but you have to dance by the path which they made it to you to believe. And that's the tragedy here. There's no, people don't like to know in advance. They want to buy it first, but then, so how you're driving your car before your driving license, or you're driving the car after you take the driving license? So somebody's teaching you how to drive, but there's nobody's teaching you how to live in a community. Well, in order to live in the community, you have to know who you are. And it's so deep and can go in deep.
Yeah.
As a martial artist, you can understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I do. That's, I mean, my whole premise of, the system, my system is, and how, my three keys that I really focus on, and then from there, it's like, there's layers, but is the self, right? To know the self.
Mm-hmm.
And in that, you've got many layers of your body, mind, spirit,
Yes.
right? So that's where you'd have nutrition and health and wealth and whatever. It's all in there. But place, know your place, your environment, and the nature of the place and environment. Like if that, so I always, so there's that, and then society, the bigger society. So that would be, the time and the place and the cultural bubbles or what you come in contact with every day. It's many different things. And then I really work on what I call the edge effect, which is how do they blend and how do they interact? How does your sense of self interact with your place and your sense of place? And how does that impact society? And how does society impact your sense of self? And how does it impact your environment? And so that's, I think that you and I do a lot of similar work. We might have different ways of looking at it or processing it. But yeah, but I think what's really down in that is it's the same thing. You're speaking to that same thing is like, they do need to know their self in order to make an appropriate decision on their environment. But but a lot of times people don't realize it until it's too late. in the wrong place. But
yeah, that's what is very difficult to be, not to be sold, but to be presented and perceived, that people, you're talking, come on, you're back, come on, you show off, you're talking. Yeah, but it's talking when you see Titanic goes in the iceberg, then what are you going to do? You're going to die. I mean, that's what happened. We are talking in England, but you're not seeing it, and you hit in Iceland, the iceberg. I mean, you don't never reach New York. So that's what you're talking about, simply. It's so simple. I mean, you're going to go to these directions, and I've seen it back in Bulgaria, and I've seen with people that some of the things were invested, but in the schools, in the education, in the culture, there's no investment. And if you see the package only, but the package is empty, then the package is going to collapse. So what you got then?
I'm wondering, so is your end, so how you make your money right now is like on the sale of something or no?
Not yet. I'm honest with you. That's why I'm asking Ryan to help, because I would like to start making.
But that's so what you're in. So the world that you're in is real estate. Is that true?
Yes and no, because strata management called here in British Columbia is actually helping the owners to run their entities where they are living, their communities. So I'm looking for a company which is kind of paying me a paycheck based on several buildings, which recently have 17, I mean 15, but there are sections which is more complicated to explain. And that they're paying me a paycheck, so on presenting them in their communities, following the process, but of course giving some kind of services, not all of it. And the most thing is coming with this reflection and this resistance of people and almost to understand how it is, how much they want to know, and how much they're expecting from you. The expectations are high. And when Joe says, oh, you have to high expectation, I don't need to, because people already expecting from me to be everything: lawyer, to be plumber, electrician, roofer, pest control, judge, police, everything they're expecting from you. And that stressed me out. Say, come on, you don't read the contract, you don't know we don't care, we're expecting from you to do this. And you cannot. Legally, physically, timely, you cannot be everything there. You can be a mentor if they allow you, but that's a different mindset. The mentorship will come if you are listening. But if you're arguing with me, you're not mentees. If you're arguing with me and you want an instant solution, let's say somebody is barking or complaining, the board member saying, fix it. I can't fix it. What do I mean fix it? The guy has the right to respond. The guy has the right to come to you, to talk to you. The guy has the right to appeal. It's not like one-way direction. You're not dictating him.
Okay, so I'm still trying to understand. So are you kind of like customer service then?
Kind of, yes.
But you're representing, and what you're trying to do through Joel's program is to do that job better for you?
Yeah, first of all, and second, yes, to start to educate people on a different level. I mean, kind of taking
and is this part of your job as it is now, or something that you're creating?
Yeah, it's a part of my job, and also I put my own vision, of course. I put that. I don't think my vision is to educate so good these people that they do not need somebody like me. You see, to be duplicable. But in order to be duplicable, they have to listen, they have to willing to understand that living in a community is helping each other, not hating each other. So it's could be very long process, could be very...
Yeah, well, and they also have to buy in, they have to buy into the idea.
Yes, if they don't buy it, it's very difficult.
But you're living in a world much like the U.S. in Canada. I think that people their whole schema or schematic of the idea, whether they're immigrants or not, is I'm thinking is that the strong individual, like I'm my own island. And it is hard to get, I haven't been able to get people to deal with each other either. Our big thing has been, so when you figure this out, let me know. And if I get any clues, I'll let you know.
Yes.
But
I
simply want our black belts to work together to help lift each other up. And they can't even do that. They're all training the same thing. They're all whatever, but they're all, somebody doesn't call me enough because I'm not in training, but they're not calling me. And so this is into brotherhood just different things, right? Like they all have excuses. They were asked to come together at the table and to communicate with one another and to create something. And they want to have a collaborative something, but yet nobody's willing to do the work. Or only one or two people are willing to do the work. And they expect to just so to get people to take ownership of their role in a community, and it's difficult.
It's tough, difficult. Yeah. It's very difficult. You're right, but the persistence is the key. It can discourage you for a while, but what to do. If you're what you are and you really believe in what you believe in, then you just put
Yep.
it outside and that's it. If
You
they
just keep
buy it.
going.
Well,
Yeah.
yes,
Well, and that's
Tiffany. I know it's tough.
what I'm
And for
doing.
you, especially when you see the differences born here. For me, it's
Yeah.
kind of seeing that back there and here is the same, almost the same.
Yeah. Well,
And
and I think I know you need to go here soon, but there's something I picked up on a while ago, and it had to do with 500-year cycles of how globally or how people interact with each other is that we come together
mm-hmm,
until our groups become a certain size,
mm-hmm.
and over a certain amount of time, and then we separate, and we need to then somehow kind of all be our own thing. And I think that we've been going through that separation cycle probably since the 80s, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly impacted us by the 90s, and I do think it's a global thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that people are realigning, that people are trying to realign. And
Hopefully, yeah.
yeah, so yeah, so I don't know. We're both being drawn to this work because I think we understand the importance of it.
Yeah, it is important because if you don't have accountability each other, and as you said, the other wants the other people to make the job, then I'm gonna play the movie of House of Cards where the American, I mean, the very nice actor, I forgot his name. He's playing the American president. He says, "You're entitled to nothing." He said it
Right.
I mean, I didn't watch the 5th season because I had enough of such a negative. Yeah, but I mean, yeah, it's a nice movie. I'm not saying it's bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Entitlement.
the entitlement, yeah. And I
Ah,
was shocked,
horrible.
so shocked to see it here, because I was thinking that we have it only there in the Eastern Europe and countries in the ex-communist bloc. It's not communist, socialist, but anyway. And when I come here, I say, why the people are the same here? Why is that? But
Yeah.
obviously, this is a cancer everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
It is. All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, Tiffany. We will see each
Yeah.
other again, and I'll post the interview with your permission. And I think people are gonna take it as a bliss and as a gift in this weekend that we are sharing the ideas of community, and we should forget our differences because we have something in common, and the common is so-called divine desire to kind of develop ourselves and to be what we are.
Yeah. For sure. All right.
Thank you, Saifu.
All right. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Uh-huh.
Bye.
Bye.